Hey, this is Eric from Catching Light.
Hey, this is Hemp.
Hey, this is Glenn.
Hi, I'm Steve-O.
Hey, this is Drew Hines with Hindsight Imagery.
This is Matt Callahan at Digimatty Photographic Services.
Hey, this is Jason, and welcome to Tales from the Pit. Hello and welcome to Tales from the Pit, the behind the lens access to the entertainment world and the creative people involved. Today we are talking with PLUSH guitar player Bella Perron. Bella, thank you and welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Thanks. Yeah, I'm super psyched to talk with you. You've got a lot of cool stuff. I mean, you and I know each other prior to this, but I'm just really cool. I think it's really cool, A, that you joined us, and B, I'm really interested in learning about your sort of how you got started. So if you don't mind, give us a little background about how you got involved with guitar, what were influences, and how you got to the point where you joined PLUSH.
Yeah, totally. So I started playing guitar when I was 5. My dad plays guitar and owns a music shop, so I was just always around it. But yeah, so and both of my parents were really into classic rock and 80s rock, so I just grew up around it, and my biggest influences that made me want to play were Kiss. Ace Frehley was my first guitar hero, really. And then from there some huge ones from the Beatles, Led Zeppelin, Stone Temple Pilots. So I mean, I started when I was 5, took lessons at his shop up until I was 18 when I went to Berkeley, and about at that same time is when I met Mariah and got involved with PLUSH.
That is so cool. So you are, you just start, how long did you start with Berkeley? Last year?
Berkeley? Yeah, last year.
Cool. And that's awesome. So you have a lot of background in sort of what goes on, because, obviously I know your dad, and we've both been in similar band members and stuff like that. So you've seen a lot of the behind the scenes stuff to the music industry. Did you have your own band? I know you've done a lot of stuff with, your dad's band and stuff like that, but did you have your own band at all at any point prior to where you are now?
I never had a solid band, really. It's just kind of funny that it's at the beginning of PLUSH, I was sick, I'm in my own band now. And then it takes off the way it did. I would always volunteer for school band, or even volunteering at elementary schools, doing guitar work and whatever. And I'd jam with friends and sit in with my dad's bands, but I never had my own band. So that was something that was so exciting for me. It still is super exciting, to have a band where it's to be a part of a team, as opposed to sitting in for a night or something. Right.
Yeah. That's awesome. And, I was just watching some of the videos of your show on YouTube, your previous shows on YouTube. And, today we are February, 18th? And today's the sort of 1 year anniversary of the official announcement of your band.
Yeah.
So you sort of started talking about that in regards to how you met and got started with the band, but were you all together? Let's talk about the origins of PLUSH. So the lead singer, and how do you say her name?
Mariah Formica.
Mariah, right? Yeah, I can't say her name. So she was on The Voice, is the way I understood it, and she did really well on The Voice, and she did some killer YouTube videos of Heart and stuff like that, and that kind of went crazy all over the world. I mean, I've kind of been following her from the not early stages, but pretty early on, before the band was announced and stuff like that, and it was very obvious there was a lot of talent there, and her ability to sing and play, and she, her energy and all that stuff. So kind of were you guys all together at the same school, or was this sort of, how did you guys meet?
Yeah, actually, it's pretty non-traditional, I guess. So Mariah's from upstate New York, Albany area. And so this whole thing kind of started with her and Brooke covered Barracuda by heart, and they did like a YouTube video, and that kind of blew up pretty fast. And Brooke was only like 2 hours away from her, so they decided, they wanted to start a band from that. So Brooke knew Ashley from, like, they had done like School of Rock together when they were in like middle and high school, and they lived like pretty near each other. So Ashley started jamming with them, and then for a while they were looking for a lead guitar player, but weren't really finding anyone that was like local. So they put out an ad, and I stumbled across it on Instagram actually because Lizzie Hale had shared it. And so I just thought it was like, preferably like someone from the Northeast. And I was funny because at first I was like on the fence about reaching out because I lived like 5 hours away, but I kind of just reached out, like not really expecting to hear much back. But literally within the same week, like I was talking to Mariah's management and Mariah and everyone just clicked right off the bat. It was pretty crazy.
That is so cool. I mean, and it just goes to show you just got to kind of, if it's something you want to do, you just got to kind of put yourself out there and try, and you never know what's going to happen.
Definitely. Yeah. It's always worth it just to like reach out to any possible opportunity because you never know where it's going to go.
Right. Yeah. Totally cool. So you have that sort of connection. Are you like, is it like, all right, now we need to have some sort of audition process? Was there a bunch of people going through an audition, or is it just you? How did that work?
They were auditioning a bunch of other girls, but I was pretty much just in direct contact with them. And later that week, I sent in an audition video, and they liked the video. So a couple weeks later, we all started jamming in person. And really since then, it's just been, just all this constant stuff like coming up since then. It's been super exciting.
Yes, that's crazy. I kind of want to talk about the year one in just a second, but I want to go through the process before. I just want to understand your full journey here. The audition obviously is a great success. You're gelling. Everything's feeling really good. Is the album was the album already started at that point? Was the songs already written, or are you coming in and just sort of filling in, or what was the album process at that point?
Yeah, at that point, like Brooke and Mariah had already worked on a couple songs, and the plan from there was really to release like singles and continue recording from there as we go. So towards like late fall or early winter, we shot the video for Hate and then released it in February, and we weren't expecting the response we got at all, where it started like charting on Billboard and getting played on Octane a lot. So from there we decided, instead of like releasing singles and, stretching it out, we should just commit to doing a full album. So come like springtime, we went in the album and recorded. It ended up being 13 songs, including Hate and the others that Brooke and Mariah did. And that came out in October.
That is so cool. Congratulations on that. That's so awesome. I can't find that album anywhere locally either. It's like it's like impossible to find. I'm like, I want to get the actual vinyl album. I want the actual album, but it's so hard to find locally. But you guys, I'm jumping ahead, but you guys have like a release thing coming up here for like New York and stuff like that, right?
Yeah, February 11th, we're playing at the Empire in Albany, and this is going to be the first time we play our album like in its entirety live, so we're all stoked for that.
Super cool. That's going to be super awesome. All right, so you guys create this album. You have the video for I Hate, and it's doing great. Everything's doing awesome, and then all of a sudden you start getting, I assume all of a sudden, I don't know, but all of a sudden you get these crazy awesome opening shows. I mean, you guys have opened I was looking through your list, Halestorm and Evanescence. Obviously, I want to talk more about that in a second, but Wolfie Van Halen's new band, I am just so psyched. I mean, I think it was you guys, Dirty Honey, and Wolf Van Halen. Was that all in one show?
That happened at one show. In the middle of the Mammoth tour, we played a festival that was Dirty Honey, Mammoth, Joyous Wolf, Stone Temple Pilots, and Daughtry. And that was like one of my favorite shows yet, where it was just such a crazy lineup, and everyone there was just so nice. So you're now year one into this, and you've already had some amazing, memorable moments that are just mind blowing. I saw that you obviously when you and I originally talked, you just hit the road with Sevendust for a couple weeks or whatever. That must have been awesome. Yeah, it was awesome. It was like a New Year's theme tour, so it was 4 shows in a row. So it was like a quick tour, but like a lot all at once, and it
Yep.
was so awesome getting to see them like 4 nights in a row. Like they're so tight live. It's crazy.
Yeah, I literally they just played here with Daughtry and Tremonti. What right? I can't remember. I think it was right before Christmas or somewhere around there. Yeah.
I remember looking at tickets and like wanting to go, but then I realized I was on tour. It's like, oh, I didn't think of like that part of it.
Yeah. Well, rewind me to the first tour. I mean, the first big show. What was the first very big show?
The first show we did was opening for Daughtry in it was in Dayton, Ohio, I believe. Yeah, so that was crazy. I mean, because it was kind of one of those weird things where like we formed mid-pandemic, so we went so far without ever playing a show, and it was all through like releasing singles and videos and stuff. And so of course we were like practicing to get ready for eventually when we could play a show. And we had some stuff lined up for like later in that summer, but we got the opportunity to open for Daughtry, and we found out about that like pretty last minute. So it's like, oh, okay, like we have to get ready for this like now. And it was so crazy. Like once we got there, just everyone in Daughtry's crew and the band, they were so nice to us and so welcoming. And that's definitely like an experience like all of us like just really think back to like and really like value it, because it was just, we couldn't have asked for a better first show, really. And it was just kind of like intimidating at first walking into like a venue of that size, and like we had never played live before, and then playing for a place that big. But they really just made us feel so comfortable, and the show was a lot of fun.
Yeah, and those guys. I mean, first of all, Daughtry's. I mean, his sound. I mean, sound live. They sound perfect live.
Oh my God.
Performing.
Yeah.
I mean, those guys are all super pros. High quality performance, sound quality. Everything is perfect at a Daughtry show. Sounds amazing. I just can't imagine how. I mean, if I was in that, I would be so nervous being out on stage for the first time. That's a big step.
Yeah, it was definitely before the show. All of us were super nervous, and like we were trying not to talk about it, but we were all like stressing out, But it's like it was weird. As soon as we got on stage, it kind of just fell into the groove really fast, and it kind of reminded me of like playing local shows where it's like nervous. It's like right when you go on stage, and then it's just kind of like it just feels like normal,
Yeah, you get in that zone and just kind of do your thing.
Definitely. Yeah, it's just like the nerves leading up to it, but then as soon as you're out there, it's like you're not really nervous anymore. And that's like, I was surprised that our first show felt that way, but really it's kind of been like that ever since that first show, where it's like we'll all be nervous the day of, and then once we're on stage we kind of forget about all the stress.
Yeah. I mean, it's a lot of pressure. I mean, you're opening up. You're not just opening up for any bands. You're opening up for well-seasoned, high-performing, excellent musician bands. So you guys are really, you got to go out there, and I mean, there's no doubt you guys can do it, but you got to go out there and you just got to kick ass to, because the crowd doesn't necessarily know who you are. You're brand new. You got to go out there and prove it. You guys, everything I read about and I've seen is you guys are just coming out guns blazing and kicking ass left and right.
Oh, thank you so much. Thanks. Yeah, it's really been crazy.
So that's the first. So that one show you did. Or was that? Did you do a tour with Daughtry? Or was that just the one show? Or
that was just one show.
Okay. So what was after that? So you do that show with Daughtry, and then where does that go?
After that, a week later, we played in Cleveland with Wolfgang Van Halen, his new band Mammoth.
Yeah.
And that was super cool too, because I believe that was his first headlining show.
Yep.
So it was super cool too, where he also formed his new band mid-pandemic, and of course he'd been out on the road with Guns N' Roses, but it was super cool, two new bands and playing a show together, and that was super cool.
And you guys are all and I threw Dirty Honey in there, but you guys did that one show, but their guitar player is also a northeastern New Englander as well.
Yeah.
It's really, really, from my perspective, it's really, really cool to see a brand new band. See, several brand new bands come out of this sort of pandemic era where everything's, I mean, we've been talking with artists, and a lot of artists are like, this pandemic kind of was like, people started questioning themselves, is this what I really want to do? Is touring really what I want? All this stuff. And I have, you hear all these bands that have been doing this for a long time, and they start questioning themselves during this pandemic. But out of this pandemic comes some major great acts with you guys and Wolfie's band, and several others as well. So and you guys are like I said, you guys come out on fire. You're not just a band standing there. You guys are on fire. So you do the tour with Wolf and Mammoth Van Halen or VH, I should say, for how many shows? How long was that tour?
So we did the one-off show with him in August, and then in October we did 6 shows with him.
Oh, okay. Yep. Cool. Mm-hmm. All right. And then you jump on, I'm not sure if it's next, but that at some point you get into the Halestorm Evanescence show, which is still got rescheduled for some of the shows, but still going on right now. But walk through that experience, because that is like, I mean, you guys are perfect for that set. I mean, it sounds like it was made perfectly for you guys as an opening act. So talk to me about that.
Yeah, that was crazy. I mean, we had found out about it in advance, and just out of the day, like blue one day, like I was, back home in Maine, and Mariah just called all of us, and she was like, you guys aren't going to believe this, but we got an offer to go on tour with like Halestorm and Evanescence, and all of us just like lost our minds, never in a million years would we like imagine something like that could happen, Yep. And yeah, definitely. I mean, for Mariah, her 2 biggest like vocal influences are Amy Lee and Lizzie Hale. So like it couldn't have been like a better pairing for sure. So yeah, we did the Mammoth tour, and then I believe like I went home for like 3 days or something, and then went back out, and it started up in Portland, Oregon, and we worked our way down the West Coast, and it was really such an amazing experience. I mean, it was the first time we had played like arenas, but then too to be, playing with bands that we really like have had such an impact on us. And then we've been listening to since we were kids, like was just so crazy. And they really couldn't have like been more welcoming and supportive to us. That was like the coolest part too, like not only are they amazing on stage, but everyone's just like amazing people behind the scenes too.
Yeah, we just had Joe Hottinger on the show like last week.
Oh, no way.
He's such a cool dude. Joe's so laid back. He's such a cool guy. And I think they're playing Thursday night in Massachusetts. I'm trying to get photo access for that show. But anyways.
Oh, sick.
Yeah. So that's the first sort of, you said the first stadium or arena based tour. I mean, I can't even imagine what it feels like to walk on during sound check, to just turn your guitar on and just play it through the arena just for the first time. That's got to be so, mesmerizing. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, it was so weird too, just standing from that perspective of being on stage and looking out at an arena into, it's just very interesting, seeing it all empty, or before shows, I'll usually walk around the arena and stuff, and just walking through the whole venue, and it's just totally empty, no one's there aside from staff. And yeah, definitely that first time of sound checking my guitar, it was I forget the name of the venue in Oregon. Mm-hmm. It was just crazy, hearing it fill a room that big, for sure.
That's awesome. So much. It's so intense. That's so cool. How long was that tour? How long did you guys do with that?
We ran it for 3 weeks.
3 weeks. So that was probably the longest run you've had with a specific tour, right?
Yeah. Before that, our only real tour was the Mammoth one, which was 1 week. So this was definitely a change of gears, kind of preparing yourself mentally to do something that's a whole lot longer than the one-offs or weekend shows we had been doing.
So a brand new band with such a major tour like that, what do you do? Because you're not playing every night. So what do you do on your days off on that tour?
Well, on that tour, since the cities were pretty spaced out and we were doing it like the whole tour in a van, so our days off were just driving days. It'd be funny too, because like we'd be talking to like Halestorm and Evanescence's team, and they'd be asking like, "Oh, what'd you do on your off day?" And it's like we drove,
Yeah.
you know. But yeah, usually like the day of the show, like we'll like to walk around the venue or see what's in the area, and like fit in sightseeing where we can. But for that one, a lot of it was just, when we weren't playing, we were in the van.
Yep. So is it, what is a typical, so what was your typical day on that tour? Is it like sound check at a certain time and then you got to hit the road at a certain time? What was your schedule for the day of that tour?
Yeah, so usually we'd have like lobby call, probably like the latest, it would be like 9 a.m. depending on how far we have to drive. And then, because we'd have to be at the venue by like 1:30 for load in. And then since like the headliners would sound check first, we would basically have downtime till like 5 or 6, which was when we had a sound check. So we would kind of get to the venue and have like 5 hours to kill. So we'd, see what's nearby, or like in Seattle, Ash and I went to like a museum nearby, or like any parks or stuff, and then we sound check and then have a little bit of downtime to like warm up, and then we would go on like 7:15-ish.
Yep. You guys playing for what, like half an hour or so, something like that?
Yeah, we'd play a half-hour set.
And then as soon as you're done, are you trying to do like a fan type of thing, or are you guys immediately back in the van on the road?
With COVID right now, we haven't been able to do any type of like meet and greets or go to the merch booth or anything, which is like a bummer. I mean, it's so amazing to be out on tour, but it's like you really have to stay in that bubble to have a successful one.
Yep.
So we're hoping, later on we can start doing, more like interacting with fans and stuff like that. But yeah, so basically we'd finish playing and then we'd get to watch the rest of the show, which is just amazing to watch, from like the photo pit area every night. That's
awesome. That's so cool. That's such a major, those two mega bands. That's such a great tour. That's such a great lineup.
So great.
So that goes all the way out. Well, actually, that got rescheduled, but not for your part of the tour, right?
Yeah, we were just on the November leg, and then Lilisar was opening for the December leg and the rescheduled dates.
Yep. So after that, what was the next lineup, or did you come home for the holidays and then go back out with Sevendust, or was there something in between?
Yeah, we actually had December off, so we were able to meet up with, friends and families for the holidays. And then the day after Christmas, I left back to go to New York, and then we rehearsed and did the Sevendust run.
That's awesome. Sevendust is awesome, but how was that tour for you? That's some great group of guys.
Oh, it was so awesome. It was like interesting, like on the Halestorm and Evanescence tour, it's like, I think it might have been a little bit more clear that we were a good fit with just being like, like female rock or stuff like that. And we had a great response from the fans every night. And from Sevendust, it's like, they're a little bit heavier than we are, but like, it would be a fun pairing. And it was just super cool to see, like, we really did go over great with their fans and had a great experience on stage. And again, like everyone in their band and crew is welcoming, and the fans were super supportive. So it was so cool for sure.
That's, I can certainly see how that would be an unknown sort of style of show, with you being a new band and them being a hardcore, not hardcore, but they have a very hardcore fan base, and they have a very deep catalog of heavy rock stuff. I think ultimately that would be a great combination of ultimately both bands together, because you guys would actually complement each other really well for a fan perspective of the show. I think that'd be awesome. How long was that tour for?
It was 4 days.
4 days,
it was
okay.
4 shows in a row. It started December 29th and went to New Year's Day.
And then you guys came back, because I remember you and I were talking about scheduling this. And now you've just booked a bunch of shows with Slash now, which again, it just keeps getting crazier and crazier.
It really does.
That's insane. So so that starts when? Next week?
No, that starts last week of February, I believe.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay.
February, yeah. So I have a little bit of time off, and then we have the album release show, and then gearing up for the Slash run.
That is awesome, man. And how long is the Slash run? Is that like 2 or 3 weeks?
Yeah, 2 or 3 weeks.
Yep. Have you, I haven't seen it yet, but you guys haven't played New England yet, right? So you haven't done any home shows yet or anything yet.
It's like become just this joke within the band of like, I think we've played every region of the US except for where we're from. So like I'll have like, you know, a bunch of friends reaching out like, when's the next time you're home? Like to play. I'm like, I haven't played here yet. So, but we're so excited because there's a New York City date, there's a Boston date. So it's gonna be awesome to play close to home.
I'm definitely going to try to get that Boston date. Absolutely. That's going to be such a killer show. That's going to be so cool. So you guys kind of went from a year ago today. This is a band, this is happening. And this is our first video, first single, I Hate, that does well. I don't know what the actual numbers are, but my understanding is it got a lot of attention. You guys started moving really quick once that came out. And you know, what was that process for you? I know you're going from 0 to 100 rather quickly. Fan base and, you know, social medias and all this stuff. You start getting tagged by photos and you start meeting all kinds of people and everyone's saying, "Hey, I saw your show last night." What was that experience like in a social media environment for you?
It was definitely so interesting, like through social media, because it really is like such a powerful tool. And I think sometimes we forget how it really does bring people together. Like, I mean, I found the whole ad for the band because of social media.
Right.
And like pretty much all of us had done like, you know, like cover videos before online and stuff. So it was so cool seeing that transition of like how it's really helping to push us as a band. And also too, especially during a pandemic, it's a way to interact with fans or people that are, you know, just getting into your music, you know, in a time that like we can't, you know, hang out in person. Or especially too, like when we do have a lot of downtime, like driving to the next city on tour, we all try to like, you know, find like videos from the night before just to like thank people for, you know, their support really.
Yep. Yeah, it's so, I mean, everything, social media is probably one of the most important tools today, you know, probably because of COVID right now, for communicating what's going on in the industry with everything and the tours and everything like that. So it's really cool. I mean, the general question I ask most artists is, as a photographer, you probably get tagged with all kinds of photos and stuff. What would you like people, what don't you like people to do with photos, and what do you like people? So, you know, guitar players, we all have guitar face and we're making weird faces and stuff like that. Some people don't want photos with their mouths open while they're soloing and stuff like that. Do you have any preferences when it comes to people taking your photos and stuff like that?
I mean, for me, really, I'm just flattered that people are taking the time to like, you know, take photos of our band when like 99% of the time they're there for a different band. Like they're there to watch the headliner. So it means a lot to us when people will get there early to like watch the opener. And then from like a photographer's side too, when they're actually, you know, down in the pit and taking pictures of us. I mean, as far as like photos, like I make so many guitar faces, really. I've just discovered it's unavoidable. Like in pictures, like I just got to learn to embrace it, really.
Yep. Well, you got some pretty epic photos. I mean, you're like doing back bends and all kinds of crazy stuff in your photos. I mean, you definitely have that rock look when it comes to being on stage and just, like I said, kicking ass. You definitely have a great look for that. That's awesome. Let's jump over to equipment real quick. What's your preferred equipment to use? What are you playing through? What do you like for pedals and stuff like that?
So for guitars, my go-to is the Ibanez RG. Recently endorsed by them, and that's just a huge honor. I mean, growing up like basically worshiping Steve Vai and Joe Satriani, it's like
congratulations.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. So yeah, my go-to guitar is Ibanez RG. For amps, I like to use the Laney Ironheart half stack. Mariah and I have the same amp, and we both just love how like it's so versatile. Like if you want to do the heavier stuff, you can. But with a lot of our stuff on our album, like songs like Sober and Sorry, where it is kind of like a pop, like modern crossover, you really can get great clean tones from it too. So we love that aspect of it, and that's been our go-to amp since the first show. On my pedal board, I use a Boss GT1000, and I love just I mean, it can do a lot more than what I'm using it for at the moment, but I just have it set up as like patches that go through my amp. And then that goes into my Digitech drop pedal,
Nice.
which is a huge help. We're always back and forth between drop D and drop C, and so I don't have to bring an extra guitar.
That's really important because so we have several songs where we tune to, C and E and drop D, and you're like, man, I don't want to carry 5 different guitars.
Right? Especially when we have like a small trailer, we have to be conscious of like space we're taking up.
Right.
Like I'd love to bring all my guitars, but to like keep it to 2 or 3.
Right. So you guys did the video for I Hate, obviously a year ago. What is next? Do you have more videos than that, or do you have more coming? What is next for you guys?
We have something new coming very soon. I mean, I can't say exactly what just yet, but by the end of the month, we'll have something new out in that respect. And then for the rest of 2022, I mean, so far, but I know we're focusing on live shows. We have the Slash run, and then we're so excited to play Welcome to Rockville in the spring. And then, some other stuff in the works at the moment, but we're planning to be on the road for most of 2022.
That is super cool. I hope that, I don't know how more crazier it can get, but it just seems to, you guys keep taking that next step to these acts that you're touring with. I don't know where else you can go, but yeah, I'm looking forward to all of it. I hope we can get to see you obviously here in New England. And I hope to see you on the road at some point. We, most of us here represent the Bank of New Hampshire Pavilion in Meadowbrook. I don't know if you've been there.
Oh, I love that venue.
Yeah. So we're all photographers for that venue. So hopefully we see you at our venue here, maybe during the summer or something.
So cool to play. I've seen a bunch of shows there, and I've always thought I would love to play there someday. But
yep. Well, hopefully we'll see you there. Yeah, that would be awesome. Mm-hmm. Well, cool. Very cool. Where do people go to find you online? What is your social stuff? Where do people find you?
Yeah. So our website is plushrocks.net, and then our Facebook is Plush Official, and Instagram and Twitter is Plush Rocks.
And you have the full CD out. You can buy that on your website. It's on all of iTunes, all the digital locations.
All streaming platforms as well as CD, and right now we have vinyl pre-orders, but because of manufacturing delays, it should come out in springtime. Nice. Yeah. I'll definitely be on that list. Can they get shirts and CDs and all the stuff at shows? You got merch at the shows? Yep, we have merch at every show, and it's all available on our website too. Killer. All right, cool. So that is, again, I can't thank you enough for doing this and going over year one and your history with us. It's so cool to see this. Congratulations on everything. I'm super excited to see you guys in Boston and whatever's next. I think it's super cool. I appreciate you joining us. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me. This has been a blast. Hey, thanks for watching this episode with Plush guitar player Bella Perron. We hope you enjoyed the episode. You can check our other episodes on your favorite podcast location and YouTube. Just search for Tales from the Pit Photo, and on our website, talesfromthepit.net. We'll see you next time.